Iran under jihadist occupation. Iraqi militias patrolling Tehran. Streets filled with armed patrols.
Can't get any worse. All these globalist organizations, I'm sick of all of them. Think again. On Monday, the UN actually tapped Iran to serve as vice president of its nuclear non-proliferation conference. Here with more on this and all the top stories coming out of Iran, the Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, is back with us. Let's get your take where we are now. The one missing piece that I would like to see filled is I'd like to see the Iranian people armed. I know that there are attempts to do it. I don't know if they're successful. I just think that that would be the next logical step. What would you like to see happen?
Good evening, Sean. Good to be back with you. What's going to be the ultimate end game is for the people of Iran to reclaim their country. In order to do that, they need to have an equalized playing field. What happened on January 8th and 9th of this year was a massacre to the tune of 40,000 people that were killed in less than 24 hours. That cannot be a legacy of any country that believes in the fact that the Iranian people need to be liberated. In fact, they called for this intervention as a means to find a way out. General King is absolutely right. This regime doesn't care about the Iranian people. If it did, it would not have brought us to a point of complete collapse, isolation, as a result of their warmongering and terrorism. But the boots on the ground have always been and should be the people of Iran themselves. But they need extra help. And I totally agree that staying the course is the best remedy. Keep the pressure on them, target the regime's infrastructure, make sure the people of Iran have now a chance to finally come back to the streets. Let's not leave this job half done. Let's go all the way.
Let me ask you, I mean, now that the top three tiers of leadership have pretty much been wiped out, maybe the fourth tier needs to go. There's obviously a struggle for power, more hardliners versus people that seemingly want a deal. You know, it's inexplicable if you're an outsider looking in. How do you possibly explain that they will honor President Trump's request not to hang the women that were scheduled to be hung, on the one hand, and yet on the other hand, they will cling to this idea that they can still remain a nuclear power, which is absolutely, positively a non-starter and non-negotiable. And now that they're headed to a point they can't store their oil, they're going to have to cap those oil wells, and they'll never come back to anywhere near the capacity they have now. How do you explain what's going on there?
Well, of course, all the measures that are taken to bring more pressure on the regime are at play. But what's also at play is the consequences of this regime continuing to survive. And that is ultimately going to hurt our country in the sense that recovering from after the mess that will be left behind will be quite a tough hill to climb, which is why, given the current circumstances, it's the best opportunity while you're at it to get the job done. Let's understand one thing, Sean. This regime and its nature has never been moderate. It has always been radical. There's no such thing as moderate in this system. In fact, if you listen to the rhetoric, and it's not just sloganism, they actually believe what they say. When they threaten to retaliate, to take revenge over the killing of their supreme leader, meaning President Trump directly, and of course retaliating against the countries in the region, I don't think anybody will breathe a sigh of relief as long as this regime continues to exist. It's been weakened, but not to the point of collapse. There are still certain elements of the system that continue to function. These need to be also addressed. These need to also be targeted. Once the regime is on the verge of collapse, the people will be ready to take over. This has to be a synchronized campaign. We are doing our part as a nation. We need the outside help. It did come, but it cannot stop halfway. The regime never intended to negotiate. It probably will not. I mentioned that in previous interviews. And the reason is that in their DNA, they simply cannot coexist with a free world. They are out there with the ambition of exporting an ideology.
200% inflation rate. The currency value is now zero. Half their workforce is out of work. They're going to soon be running out of gasoline themselves. How much longer can that, whatever it remains of the old regime, stay propped up, and how does this end?
Well, Sean, the secret to their survival so far is sheer repression. This regime has not stopped killing people. it continues to execute people almost every day. That's basically what this regime is doing. But if they run out of cash, they simply cannot pay their mercenaries, they cannot sustain their apparatus, they will be basically bankrupt. And that's also another way to put pressure on them. So it's good to keep maximum pressure, but I think the military campaign has to go all the way to finally bring them down.